بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله يا بديع السماوات يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك استغيث Ya Rabbi, Ya Arhamar Rahimin, have mercy on us this Ramadan and have mercy on us today as we gather together to remember you and bring the angels around us, making a column of wings to the heavens. Allow us to have ease in our Ramadan this year and allow it to truly be our best Ramadan ever. And it's with this intention, Ya Rabbi, that we come here. So bless our gathering today. Bless all the gatherings that we hope to have and have mercy on everybody who comes and watches and benefits, inshallah. Allow this to be a great benefit to everybody. Ameen. Okay, Bismillah, Alhamdulillah. All right. So now, inshallah, yeah, I do see the chats there, Alhamdulillah. So what we wanted to do, we'll start off by talking about Converts for Unity, just a tiny little information about it. If you didn't know who Converts for Unity are, it's a group of friends, sisters in Ottawa here who we've kind of banded together last year to really try to bridge that gap between the people who are converted to Islam, the new Muslims, with the greater Muslim community, because we did find that there's a disconnect. Unless you've immediately made tons of friends, like Allah allowed me to do, alhamdulillah, but that was 20 something years ago and there weren't that many converts to Islam. Now there are more and more, alhamdulillah. We hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will allow us to be that bridge. There was a question that came up at a recent gathering, and I was able, alhamdulillah, at that point to say, yes, we have a group. We are going to be working towards bringing the people together in Ottawa. And that's even made more challenging by this quarantine. But that's why we're having this brainstorm today, and we're going to be doing these check-ins throughout Ramadan. This is open to anybody who wants to join, any of the Muslims in Ottawa. And feel free, inshallah, to just drop in, share some concerns that you have about Ramadan, or share some struggles that you're having. Because honestly, this is going to be a really challenging Ramadan, but at the same time, it can be more beneficial to us, and it can actually be more rewarding because of the difficulty and because of the challenges. So I wanted to share, inshallah, that one of our members, she says that due to this pandemic, we shouldn't be sad because we don't have accessibility to the masjids. We can enter into Ramadan just like we entered the previous Ramadan, maybe even more prepared and more better. There was a post that somebody shared that said that some teachers, I don't know who they are, it's very obscure people that are saying that we're going to postpone Ramadan until after the quarantine is finished. SubhanAllah, you can't postpone Ramadan. You can't say, okay, later we're going to do Ramadan because it's going to be too hard. Some of the most major events in Islamic history happened during the month of Ramadan. The early Muslims did not shy away from challenge during Ramadan, and they were closer to Allah during Ramadan because they were focusing on Allah's message, the Quran. So having a difficult time during Ramadan, having challenges during Ramadan is actually part of Islamic history. So alhamdulillah for us, we're going to just keep going, inshallah, and we still get excited about this month, and we still get pumped about making sure that it's like the best ever. Alhamdulillah. So the Prophet ﷺ, he used to congratulate his companions when Ramadan entered. So I'm just going to read the hadith here for us, inshallah. The Prophet ﷺ used to tell his companions at the good news of the onset of Ramadan, and urge them to make the most of it. Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, said that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "There has come to you Ramadan, a blessed month. Allah has made it obligatory for you to fast this month. During it, the gates of paradise are opened and the gates of hell are locked, and the devils are chained up. In it, there is a night that is better than 1,000 months, and whoever is deprived of its goodness is deprived indeed." Now, mashallah, there's been so many beautiful reminders. I've been following Amr Suleiman, Imam Amr Suleiman on YouTube, mashallah, Instagram. He's been consistently, like every day, posting beautiful reminders to prepare us for this month and for dealing with this. Alhamdulillah. So we look at what our situation is in our city, and we're motivated by the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed us to reach Ramadan. The situation of our Ramadan is also a little bit precarious because this is really unprecedented for us. None of us have ever lived through Ramadan like this before, that no masjid, no tarawih, no community iftars. This kind of stuff is very hard. However, we have to be optimistic about it, and we have to seek it as a challenge to really maintain that Ramadan spirit without the benefit of that peerage and getting around the other Muslims and that sense of community. We can still feel it, inshallah. It's just, it's going to be more of a challenge. So what is the point of Ramadan? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran that the fast during Ramadan is supposed to increase us in taqwa, in consciousness of Allah. And so we can gain consciousness of Allah much easier when we are secluded from others. It's actually easier for us to focus on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do things for the sake of Allah alone when we are secluded from others. Others distract us, right? They are distractors. And that, unfortunately, for some of us who are at home with our children, we have a lot of distractions. The more children, the more distractions. But at the same time, we have an ability to come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and do those things that we would normally do during Ramadan with more sincerity. And it's very exciting. So, of course, due to the Muslims being so tech savvy, there are tons of reminders online. Alhamdulillah. If you have anybody that you like to follow in particular or any recommended lectures, and please type them in the chat box, because we're going to be collecting those and putting them on our resource page on our website so that everybody can benefit. My first recommendation for connecting with the Quran, and this is the first brainstorm idea that we had, is Dr. Haifa Yunus. She has a set of lectures called "Why Can't I Understand the Quran?" And it's just gold, because she speaks about how our iman, our level, our closeness to Allah is what really is preventing us from understanding the Quran. It's not actually the Arabic. It's not the translations that we have. It's not the tafsir that we can get access to. For us to really internalize the Quran, this actually has a lot to do with our relationship with Allah. So she talks about how to clear out the distractions and clear out the darkness from our hearts in order for us to really absorb the Quran. And I think it's actually 3 whole lectures, but why can't I understand the Quran? It's beautiful. I think it's 4, I believe. So that's my first recommendation. And I'm not just going to keep yapping. Inshallah, I'm going to just continue going on with other recommendations and ideas that we have. So does anybody else have some things that they want to share about about studying the Quran? I can just keep going about Quran for a while. So I'll just wait. If you can type it in the chat box, inshallah, that'll be cool. Okay, so some other ideas that I can share what I'm doing personally. Yeah, the reflection. Yes, this is very, very important. When we want to reflect on the Quran, this is really the point of reading the Quran. Like, you know, alhamdulillah, we get rewarded for our recitation. We get rewarded for practicing the tajweed. But the real sweetness of the Quran is internalizing it and opening the book and spending time reading it really, really, really seriously and internalizing the message. This is the whole point of having this book, because it's supposed to be a guide. And if we're not using it to guide our thoughts and guide our feelings and guide our decision making, then, you know, we're kind of missing the point. Okay, so Heather has a question. Do you still receive reward if you cannot read it in Arabic only with an English translation? We understand that the Prophet ﷺ was actually talking about the Arabic language, because when he said that the one who struggles in trying to learn the Quran and recite the Quran, the one who struggles with it, he gets a reward for he gets like 10 rewards, 10 blessings for every letter. And he said, I don't mean that alif is a letter and lam is a letter and mim is a letter. So in my understanding, he's talking about the actual Arabic language, because we know as converts, studying the Arabic and pronouncing the Arabic and reading the Arabic is very, very difficult. But again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is merciful, and Allah rewards us to our capacity. So Allah knows that we just can't read Arabic yet. And so we don't want to restrict the reward of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't want to say any kind of restrictions on there, because the Prophet ﷺ has not mentioned any kind of restrictions in regard to that. That particular hadith is talking about when you actually study the Arabic of the Quran and you're studying like pronunciation and tajweed and getting those letters and to recite. But because when we are reflecting on the Quran, we're internalizing the message and we're understanding. So there may be somebody who is just kind of prattling off and reading so much of the Quran without thinking about it at all and without implementing it in their lives at all. They're just memorizing. For us to just get a greater attachment to the Quran and to be reading it more. And of course, for converts, this can mean reading it in the English. It can totally mean reading it in English. However, that's not all we have, right? Everybody has an internet connection. Everybody has a device through which we can access the internet. And so we can listen to lectures in English that explain what the Arabic means. And that is very close to what we can get when we actually read the Quran in Arabic. My recommendation for that is, of course, Bayina TV. The subscription for that is just like $11 a month, which is really very small. However, there is a lot of free content on YouTube from Numan Ali Khan and from the Bayina Institute online for the surahs as well. So any surah that you're studying, anything that you want to reflect on, the thing I love about that is because he does get into the Arabic a little. Sometimes it gets a little bit too much into the grammar because the audience that he's speaking to are his Arabic grammar students. But he does go into like the translation and the meanings of specific words as you go through. Sister Aisha from Al Huda Institute. Yeah, Al Huda Institute, mashallah, they have great programs there. And you can go into the different halakas in the classes, and they have materials on their website too, I believe. The first thing that we're going to be doing is to obviously work on our memorization. My children have been studying with me at home because I homeschool, and I want them to learn more. So we're going to try to amp up how much Quran we study every day, inshallah. We're going to spend more time doing that. They also study with their father Surah Al-Baqarah, and they've asked if we can go over some tafsir there. So inshallah, we'll probably go through the beginning. I'll probably be using the Bayina TV link, inshallah, for that because I have a subscription with them, and we'll go through, bit by bit through Surah Al-Baqarah. I have different things. I've got tafsir time, I have hifz time, and I have taqwa time. So the taqwa time, this is where we're going to get into more tadabbur, where inshallah, we'll just pick an ayah. I'll ask my children actually to choose an ayah or even a whole small surah to just study and just ponder together as a family, inshallah. So, of course, establishing the tahajjud for the Quran is also really good. For those of us who are studying the Quran, like the Arabic, then we can recite what we've studied all day in the tahajjud. And so I'm encouraging my son, I have a couple of sons who kind of advanced in the Quran. I'm encouraging them to, go over the Quran so that they can actually lead like a little taraweeh at home, inshallah. So we're going to do our tahajjud at home, inshallah, and with, probably after Isha, and possibly before Fajr, because I have one son that likes to spend up all night awake, so maybe he'll do the before Fajr, alhamdulillah. But so inshallah, one of the things that was really beautiful when I was looking at Dr. Haifa Yunus's lectures about understanding the Quran. She said that she was gifted a mushaf, a Quran, that didn't have any words in it. It was really, really cool. It has just all the words are removed, and the number signs for the ayahs are there. So it's actually for writing out the Quran. And I'm developing the first juz for myself, just using my my software on my computer to create just like the first juz. I'm hoping I'll get through more than just one juz during Ramadan, but I'm going to just prepare like maybe one or two juz parts of the Quran for myself. And I'll upload those to the website too if there's any Quran nerds in here that want to do that as well, where you can actually write out the Quran through from Surah Al-Fatiha to the end of Surah Al-Baqarah. So, and it really, really helps with your pronunciation. And if you're studying what those words mean along with it, then it's just invaluable. Right, there's also some apps where you can play recitation as you read. House of Quran, right? So there's House of Quran. House of Quran, you can have the app open up the surah that you're studying, and you push play, and it plays the ayah, and then it may already have a pause in there, like space for you to read it, or you could just push pause for yourself, and then you just play that ayah over and over again until you memorize it. And in our group, I mentioned that to me, learning how to recite the Quran from an English transliteration is not that helpful, because when I was learning how to read the Quran, when I was studying my surahs before I read Arabic, I memorized a bunch of surahs just from the English transliteration from this little book. I learned how to memorize. I memorized a bunch of surahs. I don't know how many memorized, 7 different surahs from the back of the Quran. And when I would read it for somebody who actually knew Arabic, they were like, "What are you saying?" They literally did not even understand what I was saying. It didn't even sound anything like the Quran. So for us to go to the English to read the Arabic, it might seem like a nice like segue to it. And I think for the salah, for what you say in the salah, because it's important to establish the salah, to go with the English transliteration, I think is great. But we don't want to rely on that when we're reading our Quran, because the Quran is in Arabic and the Arabic letters are not like English letters. And so the better thing before you're actually physically reading the Arabic alphabet and from the Quran is to get the House of Quran app or the other apps that you can use, or just the videos from YouTube or whatever that you can find, to read, pause, listen, just, you know, repeat, listen, repeat, listen, repeat, listen, repeat. And this is what you would be doing with an actual teacher anyway, right? Like, alhamdulillah, we have Ustada Zainab. She had beautiful classes at the mosque here for the convert sisters. And this is what you're going to do with her. You're going to read it, she's going to read it, and you're going to read it, and she's going to read it, and you go back and forth. And this is how you memorize. This is how anybody memorizes the Quran. So it's especially important. And we made a mention of some of the qaris that are good to follow. I like Sheikh Husari, rahimahullah, because his recitation is very slow. And I also have a kind of a low voice. So it's easy for me to like imitate exactly how he sounds and everything. But yeah, so there's that. What else have we got? Have we got something else for Quran? We can move on, inshallah, to something else, unless somebody else wants to share, you know, what you guys personally are doing in your families with the Quran. As a student of the Quran, you should be reviewing all year, but especially during Ramadan, to try to break up everything that you've learned and go over it. And if you don't know as much to fill the whole month, then go over it every 2 weeks, or go over the whole thing every week. But this is a sunnah of Ramadan, to review all the Quran that you've memorized. Alhamdulillah. All right, so then next, let's go to the activities for the children. The Quran is the most important thing. That's why we put it first. But there's also activities that you can do with your children with the Quran. We talked a little bit about, you know, having them read their Quran, studying the tafsir and everything. And we already shared a lot of great ideas, just brainstorming amongst ourselves. So Khanisha has added this to a doc. And inshallah, all of the things that we're mentioning today are going to go into Khanisha's doc, and then we're going to upload that to the website. So I don't know, maybe just because we need to talk about it, I'll mention some of the things that we mentioned just amongst ourselves to prepare for this gathering today. So I'll go through some of these, inshallah. So for Ramadan, with the fasting, of course, we know that fasting should engender a sense of charity, right? So we can make a charity box or a container that has a space in it for our sadaqah, you know, and to encourage the children to have any kind of sadaqah that they can get, some coins around the house or whatever money that they have, to contribute this to the charity box. And there are so many charities that are asking for help right now, and you can imagine, on a normal Ramadan, there will be charities asking, but now, you know, some of us are having an easier time. Maybe we got a little bit of extra money from the government at this time, or some of us did not get extra money at this time, and some of us are struggling harder. So really, like, you know, find any of those charities that are asking for money now, and, you know, you can pick a charity every day. I know launchgood.com, they have this cool Ramadan challenge. I'm not sure if you all noticed, they have a Ramadan challenge for Ramadan, so that like each Ramadan, the charities, they kind of compete with each other. For last year was $10,000. So whichever charity makes the most money during Ramadan, they get an extra gift of $10,000 from LaunchGood itself. So if you have like a very favorite charity, then you can just attach yourselves to those ones and give to them every day and circulate information about them. But on top of that, you also have any of the charities that have already been asking. You know, we have our local charities that are also suffering. You know, during Ramadan, the masjids are also suffering because they're used to people donating during Ramadan, because this is a time when, you know, donations are very rampant and consistent. So that charity, you know, to have like a little charity box is a great idea. So Islamic study sessions having to do with the stories in the Quran. And I could put a little plug in here for my my free membership website, and inshallah we'll include that in our links there. I have one of the activities on our site about the Quran itself, just some coloring pages, but through, it's called a Reading Ramadan Ready, and it has a story per juz through the whole Quran. So I have that set up. It's a membership website, inshallah, that you could join. It's a free thing that I have set up. I do it every Ramadan. So that has stories every juz through the Quran and discussion points and activities in that too. So that's at readingalifbata.com. And you can sign up for that, inshallah, if you want to just focus on the stories in the Quran. And then this is a beautiful way to study Quran with your family, especially if you have older children that know a decent amount of Quran, where one member of the family can start the surah and read an ayah, and then you just go in a circle and each person reads the next ayah. And honestly, this could work if you're just reading it in English too, because you're all remembering the Allah together and you're all studying the surah together. You could have somebody reciting a surah and then just having the other children who are able to read from the English translation if the Arabic is challenging for yourself and your family, so that you can all get to know what the surah actually means. So to take turns reading it. Alhamdulillah. So because Ramadan is the month of Quran, it's actually not considered through Islamic history the month of fasting. Ramadan is actually Jazakallah khair, Charlotte sent that to the group there. The Quran is supposed to be read during Ramadan. This is like the focus. We have other months and other days that we actually fast, right? Last month is Sha'ban. This month we should have been fasting already quite a bit. This is a month of fasting. But Ramadan, subhanAllah, is the month of Quran. And so, inshallah, if we can instill this in our families and in our homes, then we could keep it up through a whole year. Cooking together, and this is a beautiful idea. My daughter got super excited when I told her this Ramadan she can help me plan and make some of our iftar meals. And so this is very exciting, that you can involve your family, especially because it's usually the mom that does the cooking. And it's a great charity and a great benefit for everybody else in the house to start doing that. And if you have children that are already old enough to cook for you, then let them do an iftar as well. And the purpose of that can also be to make it simpler, right? To really refocus Ramadan off of food and just have like a simple meal that your children can help you prepare, and the treats and stuff like that, especially when they're fasting, they can pick what they want to eat for iftar and that kind of thing, to cook and work with your family with that task that's like becomes a major thing in our houses. Alhamdulillah. Of course, when we also look at what we can do with our family in this, to remember Allah together, to make a dhikr, take like 5 or 10 minutes out of the day to just remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of the things that I'm going to try to do personally, and I'm going to try to share it with my family, is to memorize some new du'as. You might think that you know all the du'as that you need throughout the day, but there are a lot more. And alhamdulillah, we just, Yaqeen Institute just produced a book, and I translated, I didn't translate it, but I transliterated it, and I sent it to them, and they said they were very pleased with it. So feel free to share that now, inshallah. We shared it on the group, and I put a transliteration in with the graphics and everything, so any of us can actually study these and memorize them, inshallah, and use them. So now we have a countdown calendar. This is something that I always do with my family. We usually take like a whole wall, and each of us takes a day to like color in that day to count down to Eid. I still have small children in the house, so Eid is like a huge deal. It's like the end goal of Ramadan. So you can do a countdown calendar, and it can be something very simple. There are a lot of nice templates that people have throughout the Ramadan. I remember one year we used one where there was like a little sticker that you made, and you would stick it on that day. And then sometimes, because we have a lot of creative people in my family, people will just draw their own picture. And near the end of Ramadan, it got really elaborate, and you could see some of my children actually competing with each other, like which one is going to make the most beautiful day on the Ramadan calendar. MashaAllah. So that's a beautiful thing, because then that can help the children, count down. I don't know about any of you, but I get kind of tired answering the question, how many days to Eid? How many days to Eid? So this way they can know themselves how many days to Eid, because they can actually count it themselves because of the calendar. some ideas to decorate the house. You know, my children are more used to us decorating the house for Eid, but because we're going to be at home, it's really a nice idea. Okay, yeah, mashallah. Aisha just shared that she's got this unassembled Ramadan box calendar, and the children they're gonna put it together, and then we'll paint it. You know, mashallah, the creativity of the Muslims is so beautiful. You can find these things online; they're really great. Can you, Aisha? Can you put the can you share the link that you got it from? Inshallah, that would be so great. Then the other sisters could benefit. Yeah, and then there's printed out lantern and the Ramadan. There's so many beautiful things that you can get. When I purchase the things for Ramadan, I try to get stuff that you can reuse. But like if it's from paper, then inshallah it can also be recycled if it can't be reused. Alhamdulillah. So inshallah the Ramadan calendar is something that you can purchase. You know, there's wood ones and everything, lovely little wood ones with little wood plaques, or you can just make your own one. So many great ideas there. There's some like learning the new du'as, and actually one of the things that my family are going to be doing this year is because I have my younger children, they don't know their salah that well yet, and I know that my older children probably need a refresher. So I'm going to get out my fiqh book and we're going to go through the salah, so that, you know, inshallah during Ramadan I'm going to try to do that probably after Fajr, because they just ate, and so they're not like totally ready to go back to bed. I thought it would take maybe 15 minutes, and we'll just every day go over the salah and perfecting the salah, the du'as that you can say. If you already know some du'as, then here's like to learn some new ones, and teaching the younger children how to offer the salah, the purpose behind offering the salah, and the benefits of offering salah. So this is something that we're doing too, inshallah. So what else have we got here? Let's see. Yes, to make cards and communicate with our family members and other people. SubhanAllah, this is really important, especially for those of us with people who have older family members and you know, friends and family that we can't go visit. You know, this is very important because for converts, especially Ramadan is lonely. So now Ramadan with quarantine is going to be especially lonely unless we establish these connections. So I'm giving myself a personal challenge to physically call one of my friends every single day, a different friend for every day, people I haven't talked to in a long time, people I only, you know, do Facebook with or whatever. I really want to try to do that because I am by nature kind of antisocial, and this quarantine hasn't been that bad for me, because for me to not go to a gathering, I'd be like, yeah, I can stay home. So, but inshallah, we can definitely use this time to bring our community closer together, get in touch with those people that we used to hang out with, or people that we used to communicate very well with. Try to, you know, build bridges and bring people together by personally contacting them, you know, through the phone, doing like a video call. One of the great ideas that I got from this lady, she usually, she's not Muslim, but I just thought we can convert that to iftars, where you can have like an iftar with like a video chat. So you can do a video chat with like 2 or 3 different households, and then you can break your fast, you know, together in a way like that. So that might be an option for some of you all, inshallah, that you can actually connect. Yeah, I thought it was really cute. It was a dinner party this lady was having because of the quarantine, but I thought we can do iftars like that. Why not? You know, you just have a little video there. Everybody's got their dates ready. You know, somebody calls the adhan, everybody breaks their fast together. You know, in the same time zone, this will work, inshallah. So it'll be cool. Maybe Converse for Unity, maybe we can actually do that, eh? That would be fun. We'll see if we can arrange that, or we can have like a live feed, kind of private little iftar party, inshallah, online. That would be pretty cool. We'll see if we can put that together. If you're interested in that, then let us know and we'll put it together, inshallah. Or it could just be us. I don't even care. It would be really nice. Also, Charlotte said that she likes to put a hadith to read each day. So this is also connecting us to the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And I know Mufti Mank, may Allah have mercy on him and help him, he has a beautiful habit. Every Ramadan, he gives khutbahs about the biography of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. So you can go back years and find every Ramadan, like on YouTube, he's got lectures that bring you through the whole seerah, the whole story of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, just in Ramadan. And so this is a beautiful thing to replace the regular movies or games or whatever that our families are doing, to listen to him describe the seerah. And of course, Mufti Mek, mashallah, I mean, he's got followers everywhere, and his lectures are so moving. This is a beautiful habit to get into, to reveal, because the Quran is supposed to be studied, and the biography of the Prophet ﷺ is very closely tied to the Quran. So we would be studying Quran along with the seerah, and to me, it's not even like an extra thing. It's something that it's really like a great benefit and help us understand the Quran itself. Also, Charlotte, she shared some of these nice little quiz questions, and those are available on our website now. If you go to convertsforunity.com/resources, and we'll share the link too, inshallah, for that, where you can download those. I'm not sure where they're from, but I didn't attribute them to us. They're just there because they're free to download. And of course, I mean, we know there are tons of things to print out online. There are tons and tons of things that you can print out. So we're going to put a select few on our website just to not overwhelm anybody, one of each thing. One of the things that we shared in our Weavers group, alhamdulillah, was this really nice little daily planner, which I thought was awesome. So the link to that is also, Jazakallah khair, the link to that is also, it's going to be found under our resources as well. I just uploaded that this morning. So don't waste time, right? My son just uninstalled TikTok. He's like, TikTok is just full of nonsense and it is addictive, and you just sit there for hours and hours and you lose sleep. So alhamdulillah, he's already got rid of that on his own device, just to stay away from it, because, you know, we have to try to treat Ramadan like a training ground for ourselves. So we abstain from the social media as much as we can during Ramadan, so that after that, we're in a habit of not always looking at our phones and not always going online and looking at that stuff. Because we want our hearts to become pure during Ramadan. And even if we have all the parental blocks and all of the channels, and we think that we follow all these beneficial people, now and again, we're going to see something that's haram. We're going to see something that's going to put poison in our hearts and make our hearts dark. And when our hearts are dark, it's going to prevent us from actually benefiting during Ramadan. So the purpose of cleaning our hearts out is so that we can get that attachment to Allah and gain that taqwa that we're trying to get during Ramadan. And so we don't want to cancel out anything that we're doing to try to get closer to Allah by allowing ourselves to see the ugly things. Alhamdulillah. The second thing that the sister mentioned is that we should spend our days and nights in the remembrance of Allah, and that there's abstinence on both sides. During the day, we put our desires down by not eating and drinking and satisfying our desires. And then the night, we also abstain. We abstain from sleeping, and we also keep our desires in check. I have a number of friends that have medical issues and they can't fast. And so if you are one of those people that has a medical issue that you can't fast, or you have an issue in your life and you're not able to fast, your doctor's told you, okay, no fasting, then, or if you're on your break and stuff, then consider you still need to fast. The fasting of the tongue, to avoid saying things that displease Allah. The fasting of the eyes is to keep your eyes down and lower your gaze from ugly things that are going to damage your soul. And the fasting of the hands and the body parts to use those, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you, to do good things, or at least avoid doing bad things. The fast is something that permeates how we behave. The fasting, the physical fasting, is an aspect of it, but we know from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that if you're fasting like from food and drink and sexual contact, and you're not watching what you say, your fast is of no benefit to you. So we know that this is a very, very important aspect of it. So try not to sleep all day. I know, subhanAllah, for some cultures, it's like Ramadan is for sleeping. It's like the month of sleeping or something. And you will find that the people will sleep in like almost all day, get up, offer the salah, maybe on time, and then cook and then eat and then go back to sleep. And I saw one sahur that a sister made, and it is huge. I mean, we get up, we wake up a little bit before sahur here, and we'll have something, fruit and something simple. But this sister had a huge plate, like pasta and meat and all this stuff. Like, wow, what a burden on your system that is. What a burden. We don't want to burden ourselves, right? We don't want to have cholesterol problems. We don't want to end up in the hospital because we've overeaten. And the whole sunnah of fasting is to eat a little bit and deny yourself, during the day. And when you break your fast, that's when the test really comes, right? Because you want to calm down. You're not going to be just snacking all night, and you're not going to be eating the garbage and the sugary things and the fatty things. You want to keep that level up, because if you are just kind of gorging yourself in the nighttime, fasting the next day is absolutely going to be harder for you. So you actually have mercy on yourself, denying yourself of those treats and the things that you're used to eating. So sleep and wake up for the night prayer, inshallah. And then once you're done making your tahajjud, sleep, and then you get up for Fajr like that. If you want to, you can make your tahajjud and the witr before Fajr. So you can make your tahajjud and witr, then eat your suhoor, and then pray your Fajr. You can make it in the late night. You can offer Isha, and then make the Taraweeh and the tahajjud and the witr after Isha. Or you can actually wake up in the middle of the night. I don't know about you, but I don't sleep well anyway. So that might be my option, where I'll just wake up, 2, 3 in the morning, and I'll just offer that salah then, because any time during the night is the best beneficial time. And, the sleep schedule should be disturbed, that they get up, they abandon their beds, to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So may Allah make us among them, and inshallah. Taking a nap after the dhuhr prayer is actually something that is from part of the sunnah. Okay, so don't think that you got to stay up from suhoor time and stay awake the whole day and punish yourself like that. It's actually, there's a sunnah to have a nap in the middle of the day, and those of us with a bunch of children, nap time might not be feasible, but Allah knows our situation, and Allah knows what's easy for us, and inshallah we take the recommendation. The third thing that she mentioned here is that Ramadan is not for food. I know a lot of the time, like my young daughters, like the main thing they thought about Ramadan, what about going to the masjid to eat? Like they get really excited. They love the chicken and the rice, and the dishes that the sisters offer at the masjid. They love that. But alhamdulillah, we have to reflect on our consummation of food, that, during Ramadan, the food is to fuel us so that we can worship Allah. I remember Sheikh Muhammad Sharif was talking about leading the Salah Taraweeh, and he said, when you're leading the Salah for Taraweeh, like, normally during Ramadan, he said, you cannot overeat at all. You have a small meal, you have soup or something. The rest of us, we're having like a decent meal. We break our fast with a few dates, and then we'll have like, our starches, pasta, whatever like that, meat in the evening. But he said, if you're leading the Taraweeh, you cannot overeat. You will not be able to make it through your Quran. And, you have, you're going to have like a big belly. You're going to feel heavy. You have pain sometimes, you overeat, and you can't recite the Quran. So for us, the food during Ramadan is to fuel us so that we can read our Quran and offer our salah. So for us to reflect on the Quran is the whole point of Ramadan, and to have this time to get the distraction away of following our desires and eating and drinking and other things, so that we can focus on the Quran, alhamdulillah, the tadabbur, to reflect and ponder the Quran. And the fourth thing that she mentioned here is tawbah, subhanAllah, to make lots of tawbah to Allah. During the fast is one of the times that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts the dua. So when we are fasting, we should be continually asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us. Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. You can make a list of things that you want Allah to forgive you for. And there's a beautiful dua, maybe we can include it inshallah on our page, that you ask Allah to forgive you for the sins that you are aware of and the sins that you are not aware of. There are things that we do all the time that we are disobeying Allah, and we are so used to doing them that we don't even notice. But if you do notice them, and you were remembering and you reflect on your sins, make a list, to yourself, and read that list and ask Allah, oh Allah, forgive me for doing this, forgive me for doing this, forgive me for doing this. And it's a beautiful thing. There was a man who was asked, how can I ask Allah? How can I increase my wealth? How can I have more children? How can I have this? How can I have that? All the kind of dunya stuff. And the response was, make istighfar. Because Allah says in the Quran that when you ask Allah for forgiveness, Allah will bless you in the dunya. So He'll bless you in this life for asking Him to forgive you. So we make our istighfar, anything that we want in this life, and any kind of thing we're trying to accomplish, we ask Allah to help us, and we ask Allah to forgive us for our shortcomings. So during this month, definitely make tawbah. And try to reflect on the Quran, try to reflect on that, hope for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's forgiveness, and seek refuge in Him from the hellfire. And those people who are making a sin and then going back to it, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us overcome those consistent sins that we make, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves the smell of the fasting person, and Allah's favorite sound is for someone to ask him for forgiveness. So it's something that we remember, inshallah, especially during Ramadan. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees goodness in your heart and you have a consistent sin that you're returning to, then Allah will help you in leaving that sin. So we have to hope that we have goodness in our hearts, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless us with staying away from those things that we tend to do. And we all have certain weaknesses and aspects that we tend to do. And we hope Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives us all for that. And we might feel alone at this time. We might feel alone during Ramadan, and Eid, we have this issue of feeling alone. And then another sister just mentioned, she felt like really lonely and felt very alone. And I just told her, I said, Allah is with you. And this is what people say, and it's like maybe she's just going to brush it off. But the basic fact is that no matter what you're going through, no matter what kind of issues you're having, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with you by His hearing and His seeing. He is able to change your situation, and He is watching what you're doing. And so for us, we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with us. So we are never truly all alone. And we can see the kinds of help that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the prophets and the righteous people before us when they had literally nobody but Him with them. And we can see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will change our situation when we change what's in ourselves. And the best way to do that is to ask Allah to forgive us, because it changes us and it improves us and gets us closer to Allah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have mercy on all of us. Give us this Ramadan to make the best ever, regardless of how we're internally feeling about it or the fears that we might have about how it's going to go. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with the ability to be optimistic about this Ramadan, to feel motivated about getting through and benefiting every single day and getting closer to Allah, closer than we have ever gotten before in any Ramadan up to this point. I really feel optimistic about this because of the sincerity and the effort that's going to go into putting this Ramadan together for ourselves and for our families. And again, Converts for Unity, we are here for you all to constantly, try to keep in touch with you all. We're going to be doing the weekly reminders, and if there is some kind of brainstorming session, or if there's any kind of thing that you want us to do online, email reminders, Instagram chats, WhatsApp group calls, whatever, anything that occurs to you that you see other people doing that you would like us to do, then please let us know, inshallah. You can message us through Facebook or Instagram. And you can, you know who we are, Khanisha, Charlotte, and Aisha, myself. We're all the founding members. So let us all know if there's any kind of things that you think that we could plan, like the iftar, the virtual iftar type thing. If there's anything like that you want us to do. So Jazakallahu khairan for coming. Jazakallahu khairan for coming and keeping me company today. And I hope Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows us to really make the benefit of every single day. And we can do it together, inshallah. Jazakallahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.